Welcome back. In our last one, Ismay did pass away. We also had Odalina being banished. We have Solomon courting Sella. We have Elliot courting Jane. Lots of stuff going on here. In this one, we have a bunch of birthdays, so let's get to it. We have Amity Hobart and Chayton Waldrick becoming infants, no 12, 16, or 18. Survive. Ooh, that was close. Dakota Waldrick, no 4, 8, or 17. I want Highway's children to live because she died. Humphrey, Nehemiah, and Obadiah all becoming children, no 13 or 19. No 13 or 19. Ooh, okay. Nehemiah. That's a bummer. Muriel, no 7 or 14. Okay, and then when she'll get married? No, Muriel. Honestly, who would marry you? Anyway, Elliot Waldrick, Solomon's boyfriend. Please survive. I really like you, Elliot. 3, 9, or 20, please. Elliot survived. Oh, goodness. Okay, and then we have adult part 2s needing at least a 9 with Gracia Waldrick and Theta Verduzco. At least a 9. Ooh, that was close. Okay. Only one death this year. Let's see for our townies. What do we have? Oh, 2 deaths this year. Sorry. All right. Yeah. Let's hop into the game. All right, back by popular demand. It is Sophronia. She has gotten Margaret's letter and she is going to come to their aid. She is getting on the first boat that she can to come here and find her grandchildren and, try and make their lives a little better. So she has come here. She's got nothing left to lose, Her husband has passed away a while ago. She's got nothing else going on. She might as well come here. So here she is. And she is going to, of course, kind of reintroduce herself. She really actually doesn't know all the kids except for Margaret. I think Margaret might be the only one she's met before. So that that is weird for the other kids, right? Because they don't really know her, and suddenly she's shown up and is like, "I'm your grandma," even though obviously some of them are not her grandchildren, but I'm sure that she considers Muriel and Abraham also, her grandchildren in a way because they were her husband's child's children. Yeah. So anyway, all the kids kind of feel a little differently about this. So Margaret obviously is super relieved because she didn't know if Sophronia was going to kind of answer her call because Sophronia, Margaret was very little when she left to come here, right? So it's not like Sophronia would necessarily be wanting to come here for Margaret when she really doesn't know her that well. But, Sophronia is a good person, unlike almost everyone in my game. But basically, Margaret is super relieved, especially to have a responsible adult around who, just cooked them breakfast. And, Margaret's like, wow, this is so nice. Someone's taking care of me for a change. And Muriel does not like it because she feels like Sophronia might put some restrictions on her movements. Priscilla and Abigail like her just fine, not really, not against her in any particular way. Abigail probably is a little bit just because she kind of has been following Muriel's lead. And then Abraham, actually, we saw him out crying by the gravestones. And I'm like, oh, Abraham, I think he does miss his mom because, I think being the only boy, Ismay probably favored him quite a bit. So he does miss his mom and he is sad about that. And all of the kids are going to kind of react to the loss of Ismay and, Sophronia coming in differently. So we can already see that Sophronia is helping Margaret with the chores and everything. So she is, definitely an improvement for Margaret. But for some of the other kids, they are still feeling the effects of losing Ismay. And one of those kids is Muriel. Because Muriel and Ismay, Muriel was afraid of Ismay, 100%. But she also emulated her. She saw her behavior. She copied them. She wants to be just like her. They're both evil. while Muriel was afraid to get in trouble with Ismay, I think that she did really, she wanted Ismay to like her. And so she feels very strongly about the fact that Ismay is now dead and now there's this new person here and all this stuff. And so she is going to kind of act out against her bestie, Abigail. So she is going to be mean to Abigail because, like, she doesn't know where to put these emotions. She's a kid, she's a child, and she doesn't know where to put all of these feelings about the death of her mother. And so she's going to be mean to Abigail and kind of, say like, oh, it's your fault about what happened with Odalina. Like, you caused that mess. You did this. You did that. Like, very, putting all of the blame for her own scheming onto Abigail, who's like, I thought we were in this together, blah, blah, blah. And they're just going to kind of start arguing with each other. Their friendship is going to suffer a bit. And I think Abigail is kind of realizing that, you know, Muriel is not her friend. Muriel is not her friend. And I think that she's going to realize that because, finally Muriel has kind of turned on her. Whereas in the past, they've kind of ganged up against other people. But here, Muriel is finally turning on Abigail. And she's kind of realizing that she was never special to begin with to Muriel. She was just kind of, she doesn't really understand quite yet. She is still just a kid, obviously. So she doesn't understand a lot of the complexities of this stuff. But something in her is realizing that maybe Muriel is not really a good friend. And maybe she is not her good friend. So that's something that they're both struggling with and just continuing to not get along over time. So Sophronia is doing her best. She's come here. She's new to this place. She doesn't even have her new clothes yet. She's doing her best being the guardian in charge of this situation. But we're going to send over to the Waldrick household now. So we have Solomon, who is, of course, going to have some midnight rendezvous with Bernard, so he invites him over and they kind of sneak away into like the woods. I love this like little wooded area that I have everyone sneak off to woo. But yeah, they kind of sneak off together to go spend some time together, in seclusion, in hiding, if you will. They're both feeling really strongly about each other, but also at the same time, like, there is this insecurity, knowing that the both of them are going to have to eventually marry women, and they're going to have to deal with the fact that they cannot just be openly and outwardly together. And that is something that really, hurts them. And like I said, it makes an insecurity there because it's like, okay, well, are you going to break up with me? Are we not going to be together because we can't be? Like, is this not going to become worth it at some point? Is it going to be detrimental to our lives? It's just a lot of what ifs that can definitely cause problems for them and cause them to be concerned about, what the future holds. But the two of them really do love each other very much. They're both young adults now. I think I actually I got Elliot confused with Bernard earlier. I think that was my fault. But anyway, they're both young adults now. They know that people are going to start asking questions now that they're young adults. And that is something that they're really struggling with, but neither of them really feels like they have to, make a move so soon. Solomon is trying to take it slow with accepting Stella's advances and stuff, but he knows that eventually he's going to have to do something. And of course, that is all spurred on by none other than Elliot, who kind of wakes up in the middle of the night and notices that Solomon's not around and kind of goes around looking for him and then finds him and Bernard kind of entangled here. And of course, they are like, oh no, because Elliot is like a kleptomaniac. He's not like, he's shady. He's a shady sim. And so Solomon is like, please, Elliot, like, please do not tell anyone about this. Like, I'll give you whatever you want. Like, you cannot tell anyone about this. It will ruin us. Blah, blah, blah. And Elliot's like, kind of like, okay, all right. And, Solomon's just like, Bernard, like, just get out of here. I'll talk to him. And so he's talking to his brothers. He's like, please, you're my brother. We've been working on our relationship. We've been very close. Like, please, can you just be my brother? And Solomon knows. He knows that despite the fact that Elliot is kind of like, okay, all right, but he knows that Elliot is not going to be able to keep his mouth shut about this, especially if he thinks he's going to get something out of it. So he's like, I have to do damage control right now. He's like, I have to do something, anything, because we're in danger here. Like, we are in the danger zone. We are going to have problems. So during the next church service, we are going to, invite everybody to that. And then have Solomon, spending more time with Scylla and kind of courting her as he has been doing a little bit here and there, but like not really in earnest. He's not really interested in her, so he's been kind of low energy about it. Well, she's just happy because she's always wanted him, and now she's going to get him. And so we know that neither of them are going to get married. But meanwhile, he's kind of like, Stella, we've been together for a long time. Like we really should consider actually taking the next step in our relationship, and we should consider it. So he asks her to marry him. He says, Stella, would you, let's end our courtship and get married. And so obviously it's not the most romantic proposal anyone's ever had, but Scylla is over the moon. She's like, yes, I did it. This is the guy I've wanted for years, and he's mine now. And of course, she sees too, like Elliot is trying to talk to her and be like, oh, like what's going on here? Kind of like nosy into the business because he knows. And so Solomon like pulls Scylla aside and he's like, let's go over here away from Elliot. let's go over here. So he pulls her aside and he's like, Scylla, like you'll be the perfect wife, perfect mother, blah blah blah. Of course, Nicholas Phelps, the nosy Sim, is over here trying to spy on their conversation. But yeah, so they're talking about all of this, and obviously Scylla is kind of actually been having a hard time lately because Odalina was her guardian and now she's gone. But yeah, so Scylla and Solomon are now going to be engaged, despite the fact that everybody's kind of like, okay, there's no burning passion here, but you know what? It didn't really have to happen like that back then. People just got married because that was what they were supposed to do, and so that is not really any different here. And then also, I was like, do I roll for this? What is this? But no, this is just Sokanon and Anawan having another baby, and it is a girl, and we're gonna name her Nyla. So here she is. So that is the baby there. And then we're just going to add her to here. Okay, so anyway, yes, Solomon has proposed and he is now engaged to Scylla. And, he's going to try his best to kind of do damage control on Elliot's stuff. Like, Elliot can say all he wants, but, Solomon's married to a woman. He's going to be married to a woman. And so that kind of thing is going to kind of help him hide or kind of, try to say that Elliot is mistaken or something because, he's engaged to a woman. So why would he be with Bernard? That's kind of what he's going for here is he's hoping to mitigate some of the damage to his reputation by kind of, getting in front of any future rumors or anything that could be started because of Elliot's words. So that's why he's doing that. And then meanwhile, if we will, in just a moment, we will have Elliot head over to the Phelps family right now. So he is going to head over, have a little date with Jane. Obviously, where we last left off, they started to get romantic with each other, but her parents still didn't really approve of him because of, his lack of assets. And so he's going to come over here and spend some time under supervision, of course, and try to get closer to her parents and also try to include romantic things. But like, yeah, he's definitely trying to get onto their good side, her parents. And so while he's here, of course, he is going to allude to the fact that he might be coming into a little something soon. So he is definitely trying to get on her parents' good side by saying, well, I may have better prospects than you thought. Like I may be actually the leader of my house. So, I can't say anything that might or might not go on, but I might actually be an excellent match for your daughter. And they're kind of like, okay. And of course, Nicholas is eating it all up because he's super nosy. He's like, oh, tell me everything. But, Elliot's being coy about it. He's like, well, my brother, he's engaged, but we'll see. He's kind of just some stuff here and there where he is saying stuff and then the parents are kind of Like, okay, well, I mean, if you do achieve something or get something or whatever, like, yeah, we'll consider you more to be our daughter's suitor, her husband. So that is something that they would consider if Elliot was to say, get the house, get the simoleons, get everything. So um, that is something that he is alluding to with them just to increase his chances. And obviously, he's getting a really good romantic relationship with Jane. The two of them are actually super compatible, which is really sweet. I'm actually, even though Elliot is like a turd, I still like him and Jane. Like I really actually like him and Jane for each other. And it's very sweet. Like I love their relationship. And I'm like, okay, you're kind of a bad person, but like I love these two together. And I think that they're really cute together. And like I think that it's very sweet. Like this love that they have where, Solomon wasn't really interested in her. Oh my gosh, they're making out over there. But like, anyway, so I think that they're cute. Meanwhile, let's give Sophronia some clothes finally that match where we are at right now. Honestly, I do not have enough CC for this time period. It is just not enough. And I'm finding that out as I'm trying to dress some Sims, but that's just where we're at right now, so that's fine. And then we are going to head over to the Metacomet household where now Odalina is living and where the baby girl has just been born. And so, a few things. First thing, Bertram, he's going to come over. I think that it actually will be nice for Bertram to have Odalina here because there's someone who kind of understands where he's from, where he's coming from. He feels like a little bit of an outcast now that Highway isn't there to like facilitate his relationship with the rest of her family. He is getting along with them pretty well because they do respect him. Like they respect him a lot because he because of his behavior towards Highway and everything, especially after she was scarred. And so they do respect him a lot, but like he doesn't still feel like he belongs here. And he's really worried about like what to do about his children and everything. Like he just isn't sure what to do because part of him is like, maybe it would be easier for me just to go back to the settlement with my kids. But then he's like, but I don't want to, take them away from the only home they've ever known. I don't want to take them away from their mother and their mother's culture. And so he's kind of, not really knowing what to do and kind of in this place where it's tough for him to figure out, he's lost. He's lost without his wife. That's the problem. Is now that Highway is not here, he doesn't know what direction he's going in. Like she was his direction. He left everything to be with her. He loved her. He married her. He had children with her. And now what does he have without her? I mean, he has the kids and he's trying to do what's best for them as their father, but there's going to be some things that he can never do for them. And that is just, a consequence of melding these two cultures and having him, who really didn't know much about anything, come here and live here with his children, and his wife. So it's going to be really difficult for him without Highway. It really is, because he wants to do right by his kids, but he doesn't really know what that is. He doesn't know what the solution is to that. And so it is really nice for him to have Odalina around now, because he does feel like she kind of understands what it's like. So maybe like not necessarily with the kids thing, although she does have a son here right now. So there is that. But, anyway, Odalina is also making her mark in the family. She is very much fighting with Sokanon. Definitely they're going to become enemies shortly. And she is just kind of trying to establish dominance here, where she knows. So Sokanon and Anawan have been having a hard time in their marriage for quite some time. And that is because of his affair with Odalina. I mean, look at that face. I love that face on her. And so, it's because of Odalina. And also, Odalina gave him a son, and that was a really big deal to him. And he's very happy to have a son, and he is, happy that Odalina gave him one, and that they're, all together now, and he can, do his duty and take care of her as the mother of his child. But also, like, Sokanon just had a baby, and it was another girl. Her and her husband just had a baby, and it was another girl. And I think that that is so hard for her, because Sokonan was probably hoping that if she had a son, that maybe her husband's attention would kind of turn back to her, and maybe Odalina and her son wouldn't really have as much of a place in the household. But she had another daughter. She had another daughter. And so, because of that, she is definitely feeling threatened by Odalina, especially because Odalina feels like she can kind of boss her around and stuff, and it's just really not good there. So that is something that she is definitely struggling with, because she is not happy that she had another daughter and her marriage is crumbling, and Odalina is loving every moment of it, and Odalina is causing so much grief for poor Sokonan, who is just... Sokonan was great. She had a great life. She had her daughters, she had her husband, she had her sister, and everything was going well for her, and then her husband has an affair and an affair baby. He moves his mistress into the house. Her sister dies. Her father-in-law is going to die this year. Like, she has got it rough. She has really got it very rough, considering the circumstances, because I feel so bad for her that this is her life, because it really shouldn't have been, but it is, because I'm a mean person. So anyway, that is what's going on here. And then we are actually going to start doing some birthday things. We are going to pop into a few more households though, but we're going to start by getting some birthdays out of the way. So we're actually going to just go in order of my list on that we did, like, when the video first started. So of course we're starting with Amity Hobart, who I love that these babies are getting the purple eyes. I am so glad that the purple eyes are persisting. And then we have Chayton Waldrick, who both became infants this year. And then we also have Chayton's older brother, Dakota Waldrick, who is now a toddler. So then we have the Dubois. So we need to go into their household, because we need to add the children to the clubs. And then also we do need to kill Nehemiah. So we're going to add Humphrey the Fourth Dubois to the club. He became a child, and then Nehemiah failed his child role. He is going to die today. And then I'm also just going to kill Nana Fashemet. Why am I so bad at pronouncing things? Anyway, so then we are going to quickly grab their pictures, and then Obadiah Hobart is also joining the club, and he's a child, so he needs to get his picture in. And then I was like, okay, so, well, let's get his outfit on. But then we're going to hop into our main household, where we can have Muriel become a teenager. So she is still a child, so she needs to become a teenager. And I think that it is also a really good symbolic gesture of, like, Sophronia being here and trying to take care of these kids. So she is going to bake Muriel a birthday cake, and she is definitely trying her best to be a parental figure here. And oh my gosh, I'm so scared of fires now. But Sophronia is okay. She's not starting any fires. She's making stuff. And you know what the problem is because it's a residential rental, and, like, right now, in, like, when we start off the new year, you're going to see is, like, the cursed event just starts fires everywhere. I can't take that. I can't take it. I'm just suffering. But anyway, Muriel being romantically reserved, I think, is actually a really good one for her, because she's actually not getting married. So that will definitely, inform her relationships going forward. And then we also have Elliot Waldrick becoming a young adult, and then, of course, Nyla Metacomet being born and becoming an infant. So those are all the birthdays for today. Christina is still pregnant. She has not had the baby by the end of the year, so that is fine. We're going to have the baby probably at the beginning of the next year. And yeah, so here is our Muriel. Muriel is now a teenager. She is ready to, get out there and live her life and see what happens. And she is going to be a problem for sure. She is definitely going to take after Ismay in so many ways. She's definitely going to be meddlesome, and she's definitely going to cause some problems. So we'll see where she goes with that. I love her already. But yeah, so that is going to be where we're going to wrap up for today. I hope you guys enjoyed this part. Welcome to, the second year in the new decade. Lots of exciting things are happening. And, we have a war this decade. So I am excited and nervous about that. We'll see how it goes. But, I guess that's the one benefit of having our heir be a woman is that she can't die at war. So I guess that's the only thing we have going for us. But that is probably where we're going to leave off. I hope you guys, yeah, I already said this. I already did my spiel. So I'll catch you in the next one.